If you have ever felt that strange, almost unbearable sensation in your hands or feet, like tiny invisible needles constantly piercing your skin, or even the light touch of a bed sheet becoming painful, you are not imagining things. And more importantly, this is not simply a normal part of getting older. There is something deeper happening inside your body, something many people are told to just live with, but that approach is failing far too many individuals. What you are experiencing is often a signal, your body's way of telling you that your nerves are under distress, not just irritated, but deprived. In many cases, these nerves are not receiving the fuel they need to survive and function properly, and when that happens, the symptoms can feel confusing, even contradictory. You might feel burning heat inside your feet while they are cold to the touch, or a strange numbness that slowly replaces sensation over time. This is not random. It is the result of a breakdown in communication between your brain and your extremities. This condition is known as peripheral neuropathy. The term itself describes exactly what is happening: suffering in the outer nerves of the body, particularly in the hands and feet. It often begins subtly, in ways that are easy to dismiss. A slight tingling, a sensation like walking on something that isn't there. But underneath these small signs, a much more serious process is unfolding. Before diving in, I'd love to know where you're tuning in from. Leave a comment and feel free to ask questions. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss the best health advice from our channel. Together, let's build a healthier, stronger tomorrow. Inside your body, your nerves rely on a constant supply of oxygen and nutrients delivered through very small blood vessels. When everything is working correctly, this system keeps your nerves healthy, responsive, and strong. But when the body is under metabolic stress, whether from elevated blood sugar, chronic inflammation, or nutrient deficiencies, it begins to prioritize survival. Resources are redirected toward vital organs, and the extremities are left behind. Your feet and hands, being the farthest points from the center, are often the first to suffer. Over time, this lack of nourishment causes what scientists refer to as a dying back pattern. The longest nerves in your body begin to deteriorate from the ends, almost like a frayed electrical wire losing its connection. Signals become distorted. The brain receives confusing messages, which is why you may feel both numbness and pain at the same time. One of the major drivers behind this process is something called glycation. To understand it, imagine what happens when an egg is exposed to heat. It changes from a soft fluid state into something stiff and hardened. A similar transformation happens inside your body when blood sugar remains elevated over long periods. Sugar molecules attach to proteins and form harmful compounds known as advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. These compounds create a kind of internal rust that builds up in the smallest blood vessels, especially those responsible for feeding your nerves. As this buildup increases, those tiny vessels become clogged. Oxygen and nutrients can no longer flow freely, and the nerves begin to suffocate. The pain, burning, and sharp sensations you feel are not random. They are distress signals. They are your nerves struggling to survive. And if this process continues long enough, the nerves may stop sending signals altogether. That is when numbness takes over. And while it may seem like relief from pain, it actually represents a more dangerous stage where damage has progressed further. But here is where things begin to shift from concern to possibility. Your body is not defenseless in this process. It has built-in mechanisms designed to protect against this kind of damage. One of these is a specialized enzyme that works like a cleanup system, helping to remove those harmful sugar byproducts and convert them into usable energy. When the system is active, it helps keep your nerves clear, functional, and resilient. However, this protective mechanism does not work on its own. It depends on a very specific nutrient to function properly, a nutrient that acts almost like a switch, turning the system on or off. Without it, the cleanup process slows down and the buildup continues. That nutrient is vitamin B1, also known as thiamine. Thiamine plays a critical role in how your nerves generate and use energy. It supports the very pathways that allow your cells to process glucose safely, preventing the formation of those damaging compounds. In simple terms, it helps your nerves access the fuel they need without creating toxic byproducts. Without enough of it, the system begins to fail, and over time, the damage accumulates. This is why understanding the root cause matters so much. Because when you shift the focus from simply managing pain to addressing the underlying metabolic imbalance, you open the door to something far more powerful, the possibility of slowing, stopping, and in some cases even improving nerve function. And this is exactly where the real conversation begins. You might be thinking at this point, I already take a multivitamin. I eat foods fortified with vitamin B1. I should be covered. And on the surface, that sounds completely reasonable. But this is where many people unknowingly make a critical mistake, one that keeps the problem going despite their best efforts. The reality is that not all forms of vitamin B1 behave the same inside the body. The versions commonly found in multivitamins and fortified foods are water-soluble forms, typically labeled as thiamine mononitrate or thiamine hydrochloride. They are inexpensive and widely used, but the body, especially as it ages, does not absorb them efficiently. As we get older, digestion changes, stomach acid decreases, and the ability to transport certain nutrients across the intestinal barrier weakens. So even if you are taking B1 regularly, only a small fraction may actually enter your bloodstream, and even less reaches the nerve cells where it is truly needed. And here is the deeper issue. Your nerve cells are protected by a fatty layer called the myelin sheath. This layer acts like insulation around an electrical wire, but it also creates a barrier. Water-soluble nutrients struggle to pass through it. It is almost like trying to push water through oil. They simply do not mix well. So you can have normal levels of B1 in your blood, yet your nerves are still starving because the nutrient cannot get inside the cell. This is where a more advanced approach comes into play. There is a form of vitamin B1 that is structurally different, fat-soluble rather than water-soluble. Because of this, it can move through cell membranes with ease, including the protective fatty layer surrounding your nerves. This allows it to reach the exact place where it is needed most. Once inside, it helps activate the very systems responsible for clearing out those harmful sugar byproducts and restoring proper energy production within the nerve. When this process begins to work again, it is not uncommon for people to notice changes relatively quickly. Not because symptoms are being masked, but because the underlying metabolic blockage is finally being addressed. However, there is another layer to this problem that many people are unaware of, and it can make everything worse: certain medications. If you are taking drugs for blood sugar control, blood pressure, or even chronic heartburn, they may be quietly depleting essential nutrients. Some medications interfere with the absorption or utilization of key vitamins, while others increase their loss through the kidneys. It creates a situation where your body is constantly losing what it needs to repair itself. This does not mean those medications are unnecessary or should be stopped. That would be unsafe. But it does mean you have to be more strategic. You are, in a sense, trying to fill a bucket that has a leak. If you do not compensate for that loss, the deficiency remains. Now, even with proper fuel, we also need to address the structural damage that has already occurred. The protective coating around your nerves, the myelin sheath, can become worn down over time, and when that insulation is damaged, nerve signals become erratic, much like exposed wires short-circuiting. To support this repair process, the body relies on powerful antioxidants and specific nutrients that protect and rebuild nerve tissue. One of the most important is a unique antioxidant that works in both water and fat environments. This allows it to travel throughout the entire nerve cell, reducing oxidative stress, the internal rusting that damages cells over time. By lowering this stress, it helps restore the speed and clarity of nerve signaling. When nerve signals move more efficiently, balance improves, coordination becomes sharper, and sensations feel more normal again. At the same time, rebuilding the nerve structure itself requires another essential nutrient, vitamin B12, but in its active form. This vitamin plays a direct role in producing the myelin sheath. Without it, nerves are left exposed and vulnerable. And just like with B1, many older adults struggle to absorb B12 properly, especially if they have been using acid-reducing medications for years. Choosing the right form becomes crucial here because some versions require additional processing by the body, while others are ready to be used immediately. There is also an important caution that often gets overlooked. Many people hear that B vitamins support nerve health and begin taking large doses indiscriminately. But more is not always better. In fact, one particular B vitamin can become harmful in excess, especially in its synthetic form. Over time, high doses can actually worsen nerve damage instead of improving it. The key is balance, using the correct forms in appropriate amounts rather than overwhelming the system. And finally, we cannot ignore the energy demands of your nerves. These cells require a constant and significant supply of energy to function properly. Supporting the tiny energy centers inside your cells, the mitochondria, is another essential piece of the puzzle. Certain compounds help improve how efficiently this energy is produced, which can reduce fatigue, improve nerve function, and even support regeneration over time. When you begin to look at the full picture, it becomes clear that nerve repair is not about a single solution. It is about restoring fuel, clearing blockages, rebuilding structure, and supporting energy, all at the same time. And when these pieces start working together, the body has a remarkable ability to respond. Now let's shift the focus, because supplements alone are not enough. You can take the most advanced nutrients available, but if the internal environment of your body is still working against you, progress will always be limited. Think of it this way: you cannot extinguish a fire if you are still pouring fuel on it. And in this case, that fuel is chronic inflammation. Much of this inflammation is driven by modern dietary habits, particularly the excessive consumption of industrial seed oils and refined carbohydrates. Oils such as soybean, corn, and canola are extremely high in omega-6 fatty acids. When consumed in large amounts, as is common with processed foods, these fats become incorporated into your cell membranes. Over time, this makes those membranes more rigid and more prone to inflammation, further interfering with the ability of nutrients to enter your cells. If you are serious about protecting your nerves, one of the most powerful steps you can take is to change the types of fats you consume. Replace unstable, inflammatory oils with more stable, nourishing options like olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, and even moderate amounts of butter. These provide the building blocks your body needs to repair and maintain healthy nerve structures. At the same time, reducing liquid sugars becomes essential. Drinks like soda, fruit juice, and sweetened beverages cause rapid spikes in blood sugar. These spikes accelerate the very process that damages your nerves, overwhelming your body's ability to keep up. Simply replacing these drinks with water, tea, or black coffee can dramatically reduce the stress placed on your nervous system in a very short period of time. As you begin to support your body in the right way, there is something important you need to understand. What I often describe as the awakening phase. When nerves that have been inactive or damaged begin to function again, the sensations can temporarily intensify. You may feel more tingling, more buzzing, or brief electric-like sensations. This can be alarming if you are not expecting it, but in many cases, it is actually a sign that the nerve is becoming active again. Think about what happens when your foot falls asleep and then the blood flow returns. There is discomfort, even pain, but it represents recovery, not damage. The same principle can apply here. Sensation often progresses from numbness to tingling to heightened sensitivity and eventually toward a more normal state. Understanding this process can help you stay consistent instead of stopping too soon. Another key piece that is often overlooked is magnesium. This mineral plays a crucial role in calming the nervous system. It helps regulate the signals that transmit pain and supports the many enzymatic reactions that allow your body to use nutrients effectively. Many older adults are deficient in magnesium, and when levels are low, pain perception can feel amplified. Supporting adequate intake, especially in the evening, can improve sleep, reduce nighttime discomfort, and enhance the overall effectiveness of other nutrients. When we bring all of this together, it becomes clear that nerve repair is not a single step, but a coordinated strategy. It involves providing the right nutrients at the right time, reducing the factors that cause damage, and supporting the body's natural repair systems consistently. A practical daily approach might begin in the morning by nourishing your body with a balanced meal that includes healthy fats, helping your system absorb key nutrients more effectively. Midday support focuses on protecting your cells from oxidative stress and maintaining steady energy production. In the evening, the emphasis shifts toward calming the nervous system and preparing the body for recovery during sleep. Alongside this, simple habits like taking a short walk after meals can help regulate blood sugar and reduce the burden placed on your nerves. It is also important to set realistic expectations. This is not an overnight fix. Nerve damage develops gradually over years, and recovery follows a similar timeline. The first few weeks are often about replenishing what your body has been missing. Over the following weeks, changes in sensation may begin to appear, and over the course of several months, many people notice meaningful improvements in function and comfort. I have seen this transformation firsthand. Individuals who once struggled with simple tasks, buttoning a shirt, maintaining balance, or even feeling the ground beneath their feet, gradually regain confidence and control. Not because of a miracle, but because the underlying biology was finally supported in the way it needed. Of course, safety must always come first. If you are dealing with complex medical conditions or undergoing treatments, it is essential to work alongside your healthcare provider before making changes. The goal is to support your body, not create new complications. And this is where I want to leave you with something important. What you are experiencing is not a life sentence. It is a signal. Your body is communicating that something needs attention, that systems are out of balance, but also that they can respond when given the right support. You now understand that not all nutrients are equal, that form and absorption matter, that lifestyle choices can either accelerate damage or support healing, and that your body has built-in mechanisms designed to recover. So do not ignore the signal. Take action. Start making small, consistent changes today. And if this conversation has helped you see your health from a new perspective, share it with someone who might need it. Subscribe to the channel, stay connected, and continue learning. Because the more you understand how your body truly works, the more power you have to protect it. Your body was designed to heal. It just needs the right conditions.